The one of one is missing.
I knew something was up.
Pop, that's almost twice as much going for the same price.
I just freaking love that rated rookie logo.
Doing more buying.
Which one of these 5 quarterbacks has the worst set of pass catchers to throw the football to?
Guess how much I sniped this for an auction?
Number to 5, you dirty animal.
I'm telling you, these optic on-card autos are money.
Football Card Quest brought to you by NoOffSeason.com, baby. FD. Our favorite time of the year is the NFL Draft. We are just a few weeks away, and you have some wonderful info that you want to share with all the lovely people.
Oh, yeah. This is such a perfect time because if you think about it, with the draft just basically 2 weeks and a couple days away, I mean, this is kind of your last chance to buy cards off of eBay, get them in, relist them and sell them in time for the draft. This is like kind of last call for doing that, Carter.
Yeah. So for me, I'm loaded up, obviously mostly Malik Nabers stuff, but I also have a bunch of Jaden Daniels stuff, but we have a lot of people that aren't just like me that are loading up the LSU PC. They're actually making moves. And now is the time, if you've been watching this show and taking advantage of great deals, it's time to get ready for listings, right? And there are a few ways you can actually do that. So, Andy, what fascinates you the most from that vantage point?
Well, there's quite a few cards available, surprisingly, for guys like Drake May, Jaden Daniels, even Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison, JJ McCarthy, all the top draft prospects. There's quite a few cards available for them. And what I want to caution people about, we're going to pull up a couple of them here on the screen, but there are some sets, there are some cards, some inserts that I think people are definitely going to be stuck holding the bag on once the draft comes and goes and they haven't sold these cards. I do think they're going to lose value, and I think that there's definitely some inflated prices on some of these cards right now, and I think people are paying too much. Now, I get it. If you want to collect and stash it, whatever, you just want to have it on your wall, pay as whatever you want, buy whatever card you want, but from an investing and flipping standpoint, Carter, we say it all the time, but you got to buy low to sell high. And some of these cards, people are buying high and try and sell high, and I think maybe they break even or they end up losing some money.
Yeah, and you should seriously think about doing it if it's not a player you truly care about, right? I'm thinking about unloading some of my Jaden inventory because, well, a lot of it is just non-licensed autograph kind of stuff. So, I'm seriously contemplating this. Andy, what are some of those sets? And I know you have some stuff prepared to share with all our lovely viewers. As we say hi to Bob, we also say hi to LeVar. And Andy, let's see what you got cooking, baby.
Yeah. So the first one I want to pull up here. Now I want to get your take on this because this specific example I think is going to do okay because it's got an autograph on it. It's got an event signed. Now I want to see someone didn't follow your hobby tip here, or if they did, that Sharpie is not the best Sharpie to use. As you can see, that autograph is missing in a couple spots. So the auto is definitely not going to grade a 10, but it should be good enough to at least get PSA authenticated, DNA certified. And you can see that this card ended for $81 in auction yesterday afternoon. But it's the card itself that I have an issue with. And I'm going to pull this card up for another player. Here we have a Bowman Chrome University, Unexpected Delights, Early Risers. This card is not even centered, as you can see here on the right, where the S to the edge and the E to the edge. There's a big difference from on left to right centering on this card.
Right.
And you also don't have the first logo on it. And it's also a relatively common insert within Bowman Chrome University. So that's my issue with this card. And wait till you see how much people are paying on this card without the autograph for other guys like Drake May and JJ McCarthy and Caleb Williams. It's pretty crazy. So
let's see it. Let's see it.
So yeah, so let me pull it back up here.
And while you pull it up, Andy, I will make this point. Just because your card has a refractor finish doesn't mean it's rare, right? Especially if it's an insert. And one thing I would say is if you are ripping these kinds of cards and these kind of packs, always be skeptical of every single card that you pull, right? Almost too good to be true if you pull a refractor of, let's say, a CJ Stroud. Well, it's a difference if you're pulling a silver prism refractor rookie CJ Stroud, or if it's just refractor card of some insert that's overprinted, right? So, yes, as you can see now, if you are watching via YouTube, this card does look really good in a one touch, but as you can see, Andy, not as high as some of the other Drake May cards that you'll find.
No. And this is the thing. People get sucked into this. If you can see here, it's a sponsored listing. So this is the second listing that you're going to pull up, right? If you're typing in Drake May, you're getting excited. You're thinking the New England Patriots are going to draft him, right? And so you want to speculate on him. If you look at Mel Kiper's latest mock, he has Drake May going to New England. So, and you're like, okay, 350's out of my budget range, but man, this one is popping. This is shiny. Right? It's right here. Look at this. 33 sold. This is the last one. Extra 30% off with a coupon. So you feel like you're getting a deal. This is just all playing into your psychology from a seller standpoint. They're just trying to play into your psychology, get you to buy this card because, in fact, after we've seen this in previous draft classes, so I don't have the actual screenshots to share with you. And I could pull up a similar insert. We could look at last year's draft class, but let me just tell you from experience, Carter, that this card is going to end up being a $1 to $5 card after the draft.
Yeah, and like you said, Drake May and Marvin Harrison in this Bowman product, Bowman first, and you don't have that first logo. This is essentially just an insert, just a card. So, like you said, be careful, right? It's almost too good to be true when you have all these different numbers in front of you. It kind of feels like a used car salesman is selling me this card. The only thing that's missing, Andy, are the flaming you know what I'm talking about, the thing that airs up. That's the only thing missing is that next to that card. So, yes, be very mindful of that.
So I want to also look at Malik Nabers. Let's look at a different tier of card because I think people are sucked into this. Once again, we have sponsored listings here. And the autograph market for these guys are getting harder and harder to get into. And I think that's why you see like $81 transactions on the Marvin Harrison Jr. event signed. Now, I don't know why that guy chose to get that card specifically signed. That's not the card that I would have picked, right? Is that the card you would have picked, Carter?
No, especially if I had a chance to meet Marvin Jr. So, yeah, no.
So here's a Malik Nabers, serial numbered out of 499, selling for $135 right off the top here, right? You have the SGC 10 Bowman first. You're like, okay, first, it's got 10 grade SGC. They're owned by PSA now. That's not a bad deal, right? However, this is just a base card, and you really have to go and look at kind of Malik Nabers' entire market to understand that this is pretty common for him. He's got a lot of cards printed. He was printed pretty heavily in the last 2 years of Bowman, Chrome University, Bowman's Best. He's got some other cards as well. So,
he has lots of Leaf autos. Trust me, I know.
You can look at, go look at a Jamar Chase NFL uniform, Bengals uniform, base prism, base optic, pro uniform, PSA 10. Go look at the price of that, and you're going to be able to find that card for $30 to $40. So to justify, the 65 for this, you'll break even at best if not lose some money on buying a card at this price off these top sponsor lists. And this one is way overpriced. I mean, that is the max ceiling. You probably not going to make any money off of that. It's going to have to be a lot of collection value baked into that. I would feel comfortable buying that card out of $4.99 Bowman Chrome University auto first at like $30, like $30 to $40 tops to have some upside to sell for a profit in the draft. Even if Malik Nabers is drafted by the Chargers in the beginning of the draft, or and that depends. Like Mel Kiper thinks the Chargers are going to trade back and draft Xavier Worthy at the end of the first round, and Malik Nabers is going to go to the Giants at number 6, which is not a bad landing spot.
Yeah, no. That's the sexiest landing spot for him in terms of mock drafts, and obviously in terms of market size. And that dude, I had so many of those Leaf autos of Malik. I wish I still had them. I gave away so many of them. It's just like kind of free giveaways. And I was like, dang. I mean, I bought them so low, but that's not here nor there. What I would tell you is I think Malik is going to be unfreaking believably special. I also am very concerned about the New York Giants landing spot because of Daniel Jones and because of the MetLife turf monster that has claimed many of ACLs. Just ask Sterling Shepard. But yeah, Andy, I remember getting these cards on the low. So yeah, $30 per Leaf auto. It's pretty nice for the seller.
When were you buying them at the low? Because I'm guessing you were able to get these Leaf autos non-serial numbered, like this one's non-serial numbered. When were you buying them, and how much do you remember?
I remember making a pretty nice deal on like a stack of them at a show, and it was like $10 a pop, $10. Per card. I just love this guy, Andy. I really do think he is the best player in this NFL draft. And I'm not just saying this because he went to LSU. Like, I think he's a different tier than Jaden Daniels. I think, him and Marvin are my 2 top players in this draft. So we'll see how it pans out.
So if Mel Kiper's right and the Giants do take Nabers at 6, he's also got the Giants projected to take Bo Nix at the 2.01. Do you think that's enough? Because I'm concerned about the current quarterback situation in New York, whether it's Daniel Jones or Danny DeVito or
Danny DeVito,
Tommy DeVito, or Bo Nix at 201. I'm wondering if that's enough hype to get people. The Giants have this massive fan base and a huge TV market in that area. So, a lot of hype there. But is that enough for us to really see these Leaf draft auto cards, non-serial numbered, to go from 30 to 60 or 30 to 50? Or you got to ask yourself, what is it worth my time, to speculate on that?
No, it's not. I would much rather have a Bowman U card. That's flashier. A lot of them are refractors, and he's actually in the LSU uniform. And I actually like his pose better on the Bowman U cards. Anyway, we'll take a few questions before we get into Andy's next comment. We say hi to Sean 5 Red Cards. Let's go to LeVar Ball, who's asking about Garrett Wilson, Andy.
This is going to be a tough one because Garrett Wilson has gone up quite a bit from, if you look at since the season ended till now, Garrett Wilson is the most expensive wide receiver from that 2022 draft class. He's more than Drake London, Chris Olave, you name it, man. I looked at George Pickens, Christian Watson, of course. But if you just look at those 3 main guys, and Drake London, Chris Olave, and George Pickens, Garrett Wilson is way more expensive. So he's going to have to exceed expectations in the realm of like, he's going to have to go to the Tyreek Hill level off. You know what I'm saying? It's going to have to be pretty crazy. Now, it's possible. Jets are going to get primetime games. Aaron Rodgers is back. He could have some crazy high touchdown efficiency, but I think that's fairly slim. I don't think that's just a given.
Yeah, I like his situation. Obviously, in that wide receiver room, he's just so much better than every single wide receiver in that room. But Mike Williams is there now, and Mike Williams kind of fits an Aaron Rodgers receiver, right? Aaron has loved him. Some big, bulkier, somewhat slower type of players. Now, Devontae Adams was elite in every facet, but you think about James Jones, you think about Jordy Nelson, guys in that type of build. That's I think Aaron's going to throw the ball quite a bit to Big Mike, even though they're not going to have a whole lot of chemistry. And Andy Breece Hall is in that offense. And, Andy, as you know, I've become pretty much part-time underdog drafter. I've done probably 10 times as many drafts as you've done. And I hate to admit that aloud. I got a problem. But you want to know the one player in the top 12 I have none of, like absolutely zero shares? It's Garrett Wilson. I am concerned that he's going to pay off that ADP. So we'll see what happens.
Where you can potentially, this is the beautiful thing about sports cards, where you can potentially find a deal is in auction. I do think that there's some opportunities in some of his serial numbered cards. I definitely would be looking for green color match cards as well, even if it's like from Mosaic. I would be looking for green chrome color match cards of Garrett Wilson, preferably serial numbered. And obviously, if you can get those in a 10 grade from any of the major grading companies, that's going to be a sweet little boost. But look for those auctions, and maybe a guy's got an auction ending. And especially around draft time when everybody's going to be focused on the incoming class. I mean, Mel Kiper's got the Jets currently projected to take Brock Bowers at number 10 overall. So that would be pretty interesting. That would definitely take a lot of spotlight away from Garrett Wilson. And if there's auctions ending on Garrett Wilson, then you could get in under market value, maybe closer to that Drake London, Chris Olave price point. But just know, like, you're still, I mean, that's not the bottom. Go look at what George Pickens' market is at now and Christian Watson's market amongst other 2022 skill position guys like Breece Hall. Breece Hall is much lower than Garrett Wilson. I think that if I had to pick and it was my money, I would rather buy into the Breece Hall over the Garrett Wilson right now.
Yeah, so Andy, because I'm doing so many drafts, I'm starting to watch, some highlight reels and relooking metrics and all that stuff. Breece Hall is that guy. And I honestly think their backup, Izzy Abanikanda, out of Pitt. I know I didn't say his last name correctly. I actually think he's got some juice. I just don't think he's going to be able to play with Breece Hall having such a heavy workload in that offense. I think Breece is going to go nuclear next year. Desert Moose and Chowks, very happy to be a part of y'all's lunch break. Let's go to Card Banker. He says, which of the Houston wide receivers? Well, we talked about Derrick Henry last week, so we'll do this one. Which of the Houston wide receivers would you rather be holding on going into the season?
So, Carter, you recently did a great video on your Power Hour NFL channel about them bringing Stephon Diggs into Houston and some of the potential impacts that could have. This is going to be a crowded wide receiver room now with Nico Collins, Tank Dell, and Stephon Diggs. And if I had to ask myself which one I want to be holding, man, this is a tough one. We saw Stephon Diggs decline towards the end of the season last year. And we know that he definitely will start to grovel and complain. If you look at the contract that he signed, he's got to perform this year because he's going to free agency next year. So this is like, prove yourself here with CJ Stroud. Help us get to a championship Super Bowl run. Let's rival the Kansas City Chiefs out of the AFC. And if you do good, you'll hit free agency and get a bag, the final bag of your NFL career. And so, Stephon Diggs, if he's not getting targets, he's going to be whining and complaining.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Carter, I'm going to throw this one over to you because I struggle with this one. Like, there's scarcity with Stephon Diggs cards from 2015, and I see a lot of people buying, selling 2023 Stephon Diggs, especially the rare cards. But I would still personally, with the price point that has gone down on Nico Collins, I feel like I want to buy more Nico Collins now and just stash them.
Yeah, I've been buying the dip on Nico and some of his ADP. Because I still think Nico's going to be the guy with Tank. Diggs just disappointed me towards the end of last season. Obviously, when you go to an elite quarterback like CJ and all the talent that's around you, sure, you're going to have some numbers. But as far as football cards are concerned, like how many super Stephon Diggs fans are out there? I mean, his cards look ancient in the Minnesota Vikings uniforms, right? And even when he was performing with the Vikings, his cards never really were nuclear, if you get what I'm saying. So I'm actually going to go with Tank Dell, right? He's coming off injury. We didn't get to see him perform in the playoffs. Nico had a great playoff game versus the Browns. I like Tank Dell a lot. I liked him at Houston. And I love him at Houston, and he just happened to play at the same college and NFL team. But yeah, more Tank product is starting, to trickle out as well. He's the youngest, and as long as they don't have him at 160 pounds sopping wet, blocking in line, he will be healthy, and he will be, to me, the best buy out of the three.
Yeah, there's going to be some good deals on Tank Dell this summer, and I'm really excited about it. I'm looking forward to Panini, getting these set releases moving. It's just unbelievable, man, how much they've drug out these last sets, like June 26 for Optic now. I mean, it's just we still I don't think I have a release date yet for Contenders. So those rookie ticket. Have you seen the new design of Optic? I mean, it's pretty similar. I'll pull it up here on the screen. You got the CJ Stroud featured there. Let's open this image in a new tab here. Yeah, so check that out. They've got some rated rookie Jazz. There's the rated rookie Ice. I mean, it's pretty similar to what you have from base Optic. It's just a chrome finish. So I like it better than last year. I'm not going to lie. I like it better than last year. There's your rookie auto pin.
Okay, I like that.
See, it's not bad. They didn't go with the they didn't go with the 3-dimensional kind of look that they're going with the year before. The Rookie King's a little bit different. They did a portrait. I think that's kind of goofy the way they did that. It's
come on, Optic. Come on. Andy, I'm not one to crap on the card design, but that didn't tickle my fancy. It might grow on me. A lot of sets do, but
yeah, you only one autograph per hobby box for $850. I mean, just not like they used to make it, man. 20 rated. I mean, you're not. There's no ROI with the current hobby box prices on this, in my opinion.
Oh no, you can't just give me one auto off an $850, dude. I'm not going to say anything about Panini today, though, because they did just sign my queen, Angel Reese, to an exclusive deal. So I just can't do this year's Optic. I am out. Let's see. We say hi to Pick Six Cards. Pick Six is probably the only person in here that has a Derek Stingley collection better than mine. So shout out to him. He's a big Houston Texans guy now that Sting is there. But now we get to Hobby Tip of the Week via nooffseason.com, the sports network. Andy, I am going to go first. All right, this is something that's been piling up on me. Piling up. That's not the best phrase. I still love PSA. Most of my slabs are in PSA slabs, but my hobby tip of the week is to never overreact to like international hobby news. So Andy, you had the big story earlier today that PSA has acquired, and please correct me if I'm wrong on this, Andy. They acquired the eBay vault. Oh, did you not see this?
No, I haven't seen this yet.
Oh, no. Yeah, I mean, Kaladesi actually woke me up with this news today. But yeah, pull it up on the screen. Every big hobby news source has talked about. I should have brought it up in our pre-show prep that we were going to get to this.
Roger that.
But
yeah, Nat Turner 4 hours ago.
Yeah, so normally with like these big like hobby news stories, unless you are like a really, really high-end collector, that matters to you, right? And there are some huge benefits to that. But rarely does any of like these big like hobby stories affect you in any certain way. So never feel like compelled to do any one thing, right? Like, and the reason why I bring this up is that Golden Auction, I believe, is part of this deal. How many of you are listing cards on Golden? Maybe there are some higher end collectors that watch what we do, and all the power to you. If you are one of those people, please comment down below. But my thing is to never really overreact to any like big hobby news story. Unless it truly is something seismic, like Fanatics getting the rights that we talked about for weeks on end. But Andy, that's what I was going to bring up to you. More consolidation in the hobby here.
Yeah, more consolidation. It's not necessarily a bad thing if they complement each other. They're complementary services. This comment here from Hobby Champ is interesting. It looks like the second most. He said you guys partner with eBay Vault, and eBay bought Golden's Vault from you, so eBay is officially a part of two vaults that are in direct competition with each other. that was a comment here on this post from Nat Turner about the news. Yeah, I don't use any of the vault services except for comc.com because it's completely open. You know, if you look at eBay and Golden's Vault, you know, it looks like mainly for high-end cards. It makes sense for higher-end cards that are like super expensive. I would say $1,000 plus cards, and you know, most of my cards are worth like between $50 and $100 on COMC. So that's kind of like that sweet spot where I work in most. It's not to say I have some that are worth a little bit more than that, but those are actually here in my personal collection. So yeah, I don't actually use any of the vaults. So it'll be interesting to see what impact this has on eBay and PSA. But yeah, I'm kind of with you. I'm not like, it's not doing anything really for me right now.
Yeah, and the one thing I would say is, look, once again, most of my slabs are in PSA format. I love the PSA slabs. I really, really, really do. But you see, these are the two biggest brand names in the hobby, period, right? You have the biggest grader, and you have the biggest sales format, apparatus. I was trying to think of a fancy word there. The way you don't let these things truly move the needle is by supporting other people who do the same thing, right? Andy, I've gotten $0 from your CGC deal. Okay. And most of my cards are not in CGC format, but support CGC, right? Because they're supporting Andy. They're supporting, obviously, the NoOffSeason.com network. And if CGC grows, guess what? PSA doesn't have the same monopoly that it does on the hobby right now. We saw what SGC did and how serious SGC got with grading. And it's not just vintage stuff anymore. It's modern stuff like we just showed you with that Malik Nabers card. So that's going to be the second part of my hobby tip of the week is don't just shun a card away just because it's not in a PSA slab. That, Andy, has never really meant a whole lot to me other than in the back of my mind saying, well, yeah, if it's in a PSA 10 format, everyone else is going to like it that much more. But for me personally, for my PC, it really doesn't move the needle whichever slab it's in. And same things for eBay. eBay has been very good to me, but it's not the only place you can sell cards, right? Go to shows, sell, obviously pay goods and services on Facebook and all of that. But yeah, you do wonder how much change will be coming. But I am glad we brought it up. We talked about it. But Andy, hobby tip of the week to you, my friend.
Yeah, my hobby tip. I'm going to go back to what we talked about at the beginning of the stream, and just remind people that this is kind of your last call to buy cards in preparation for the draft. If you're prospecting for the draft, I would do that now and this weekend because as we get closer to the draft, you never know, in terms of shipping when you're actually going to receive that card. And you don't want to get caught where you're using a screenshot or relisting someone else's photo for your listing and in the hopes that you're getting that card and then maybe it never shows up. Don't do that. Don't do that. That will get you in some really hot water, potentially negative feedback on eBay. And that's your seller reputation. That could impact the amount of fees that you pay eBay. When you have a top seller rating, you pay less fees. And you just, you're less likely to get future business if you have enough negative feedback. So be very cautious. Don't get caught in that. So go ahead and buy the cards now. Be prepared early. Like for example, looking at some Brian Thomas rookie autos here on eBay. I think there's a chance that he gets drafted by the Buffalo Bills at the towards the end of the first round. Carter, another LSU wide receiver there.
He won't get there. I think there's, I would put that at a 5% chance likelihood. I will tell you this. I think Xavier Worthy going in the top 20 is a higher likelihood than BTJ falling. And trust me, Andy, for Brian Thomas Jr. in my evaluation, I have him as a later first, early second kind of guy. I don't know if I would use a top 15 pick on Brian Thomas Jr. I don't know. It's rare that the draft community loves someone more than I like him as like an NFL prospect. But continue on with your point. He still could go to a very good landing spot. Indianapolis is a place.
Yeah, Indianapolis, man. I feel like that would be a bad landing spot. I mean, it's great for Anthony Richardson, but and maybe potentially Joe Flacco, right? Joe Flacco signed a 1-year deal, right? To
be the backup.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, and Joe Flacco is an interesting guy, just because he's gonna throw the ball like crazy if he starts. But I see that Anthony Richardson's getting healthy. He should be good to go for week 1. Yeah, it's great for him, but you already have an established alpha there in Michael Pittman Jr. You got a slot receiver that's pretty decent in Josh Downs. I think it's interesting to add to the wide receiver room. He's a big body, like speed receiver that had an incredible touchdown ratio, like touchdown efficiency at LSU, especially this past year with Jaden. But Man, I just don't think that's a great landing spot for him, because then people are going to be like, oh man, well he's going to be competing against Michael Pittman Jr. That's a pretty significant target competition. Then they'll be worried about just the overall targets in general. So I think if he goes to someplace like Buffalo, though, that's much bigger because it's a direct replacement. Like people will perceive it as a direct replacement for Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis, and Josh Allen's cards are still very expensive. There's still a lot of hype there for the Buffalo offense. So I think that that would be, huge. But obviously the Chargers, what's interesting, Carter, we speculate on who the Chargers are going to draft. We think it's very likely they draft a wide receiver, but with Jim Harbaugh there running the show, man, and we know how much he likes to run the ball. I mean, it would be, I think that Brian Thomas would be a really good fit for the Chargers there at 23, instead of, like, if they do trade back.
Yeah.
If they do trade back, because I think what we've seen, the writing on the wall, is Minnesota really wants to move up. We just saw them acquire another first round draft pick, like a later first round draft pick, more ammunition in their gun. I think that they do want to move up to get a quarterback here. And so,
okay,
I definitely think Minnesota is after a quarterback big time.
Okay.
Big
All
time.
right. I like it. Let's go straight to the super chat. That's, you're paying for Andy's time. He wants your thoughts on a Joe Milton, Tennessee quarterback, Bowman U, cracked gold, number to 14, PSA 10, pop 1. That is an interesting buy. So Valcor, you got to first tell us the price. That's obviously important, the price here. And Andy, your thoughts on Joe Milton?
Man, I like Joe Milton. I thought he had a good arm, but I know that a lot of people, I mean, yourself included, Carter, you've analyzed this Tennessee offense. I mean, he wasn't the best quarterback on that team this past year, and according to your analysis, right? And it's like he's decent, but he's not. I don't know. I feel like Joe Milton might be a trap like Malik Willis, where but not as athletic as Malik Willis,
Yeah. I'm out on Joe Milton. I don't get swayed heavily with pocket guys that just happen to have big arms, right? That's why I'm kind of cautious in drafting Will Levis, right? And Will Levis is a better variation of Joe Milton than Joe Milton is Joe Milton, if that makes sense. Milton, I don't think is as explosive of a runner, even though, his test scores were pretty good. I just don't see it. I really don't. And Andy, I'm always going to be very skeptical of anyone in that Tennessee offense. With that said, if I can get a gold auto number to 50 for $30, I guess that's not the worst.
Yeah, it's not bad. Price point plays a big role.
Yeah, I guess I'm okay with it, because I'm going to be honest with you, Andy, as far as Joe Milton is concerned, there's not been as much hype surrounding him as there are with some of the other later round quarterbacks, right, Andy? Like, if you follow the draft close enough, you'll find some Spencer Sanders truthers. You'll find Spencer Rattler truthers out there. I've even seen some hype for Carter Bradley, Keaton Slovis. Not quite the same kind of hype for Joe Milton heading into the NFL draft as I initially thought. So $22 Bowman first auto, I'll take it. That's not the worst price point there.
Yeah. Price point plays a big role. I would suggest that you try and get that, even though it's PSA 10 and it's gold out of 14 Bowman U first cracked ice. I would try and get it for under $100, to be honest with you. And then I would say, yeah, it's worth it. It's got some upside. Because the thing I don't want you to get sucked into, this guy gets drafted, let's say late day 2, day 3. Like he goes somewhere in the 3rd to 5th round. He's clearly not going to be projected as a starter. So it is very much of a Hendon Hooker type situation. Chalks mentions that here in the chat. I agree with that. And then what happens is these cards, these Bowman University first cards, they lose value. They're going to lose value. The pro uniform cards are going to come out, and then the guy's still a backup, and you literally are going to be stuck with a $50 card. So a card that you paid $100 for, and all those pro uniform cards come out, this card's going to go down in value to like that $40 or $50 price range. And it could continue to drop depending on his outlook in the NFL. So I hate to see you get stuck in a situation where you aren't able to sell it in the next 3 to 5 months. This is the most important time because they're going to have NFLPA cards come out. They're going to be doing a rookie premiere event. He probably won't get invited to that, but then they're going to have all the other draft picks cards. The Chronicle set's going to have a ton of, just a ton of different, licensed college uniform cards in there for him. And, it's just the market's going to get definitely diluted. And if he's not projected to be a starter, where's the hype coming from for people to go like spend a premium? I get you might be able to break even. That's why I say try and get it for 100 or less, because the price point matters a lot. If you can get it for that, then at least, that card itself, the scarcity with it, and I'm wondering if it's got an auto on it as well.
So he sent me the photo.
Okay.
And I'll just show it right here. Put me on the big screen here.
Oh, yeah.
And he actually has 3 Joe Milton cards right here. He's got the Sapphire, and these are all 10s, Andy.
Nice.
These are all 10s and fresh slabs. So here's what I would do if I were you. First off, it would depend if you're a big Joe Milton fan, which I'm guessing you are if you got 3 of them. Andy, the first thing I would do is sell at least one of them leading into the draft, because if he goes to like a good landing spot, then that will generate some interest. The second thing I would say about Joe Milton is I do think he is the perfect training camp preseason hype kind of guy, because if you were just looking at these quarterback prospects throwing versus air, Joe Milton destroys all of them outside of Caleb Williams and Drake May. If you're just looking at them throwing the football, right? So guess what preseason football is? It's just football just to receivers. So I could see Joe Milton throwing a 70-yard preseason bomb and people going crazy. So I would sell one of these and then hold on to the other 2, because I do think there will be a preseason situation where he does something like that. So
that's true. And they're playing against second string, third string defenses. Some teams get a lot more training camp coverage than others, and he'll definitely get playing time in preseason. So that's actually, we saw that happen with Dorian Thompson-Robinson last year. Yeah, man, big time, among other guys like Aiden O'Connell and stuff, and he ended up getting playing time during the season. So a little bit different for him, and so did DTR. But anyways, I digress. There's quite a few quarterbacks last year that were rookies. They got playing time in the preseason. It saw a lot of demand for their cards. And that will be a card that still moves quite well in the preseason. So that's kind of yeah.
And there won't be a lot of his stuff printed. So I actually kind of like your spot here, Valcorp, with that. So I would think about selling one of them before the draft, but I think you'll get a good preseason hype cycle. And the pop counts are going to be low on Joe Milton. So I like it. And he said, following up with the super chat, he likes the underdog, the Tom Brady, Brock Purdy type of player. And one thing that Tom Brady and Joe Milton have in common is they both played at Michigan. That's where Joe Milton played before transferring to Tennessee. Now, LeVar asked about Hendon Hooker. I just don't see any path forward at Detroit, but we'll see. Bob says, I have been lately dealing with cash at local card shows, tired of fees and tax implications dealing on eBay. Finding good deals when buying will focus more on eBay at type of hype cycles when you have to.
Yeah, I'm looking to actually I missed the card show. That was this past weekend. There's a lot of stuff going on right now, but I'm looking at the one in May, now the beginning of May. It's because I mean, if you can set up, I like the idea of like having a spot set up, like a table.
Yeah.
If you could set up a table, I think for even $125, it's still worth it to set up at a table and work your way, your cards, your deals, whether you're buying or selling that way.
Yeah, I love setting up, and I might go fly to Tampa and set up with you, Andy. I'd be down for a quick trip to the TB.
Let's do it.
Hang out with Mike Evans, and we'll invite Mike Evans to sit at our table. Why not? So there you go. Now, before we get to plays of the week and taking a few, before taking a few other questions, Andy, is there anything else that you wanted to get to on today's program?
Yeah, I think go back and look at the Joe Milton. I think he's a good guy to look at and say, okay, here's what the bottom of the market looks like for this incoming prospect class. And then you look at Caleb Williams and like, here's the top. And so when you're speculating on whoever it is, whether it's a Bo Nix, a Michael Penix, any of these guys, Drake May, McCarthy, any of these guys, you can kind of fit them in there. So here's the bottom with Joe Milton. Here's the top with Caleb Williams. And then depending on where your guy is priced at, how much room you have for upside or how much room that it could potentially go down after the draft into the season. So that'll give you a good gauge of where to buy in at, how much upside you could potentially have in your card. That's the kind of strategy I take to all draft classes.
All right, Valcorp, bring in the super chats, man. That's one way to help Andy's channel. He says he got an optic defensive tackle. I'm kidding. Downtown 2021, Josh Allen. I pulled on eBay right now if the guys are fans. Oh, so you're promoting your own eBay listing. Well, send me the link, Valcor, and I'll post it. If you're dropping $5 super chat, sure. We normally don't do that, but yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, send it. Yeah. And we'll even put it on the screen. I'm interested to see what this card looks like. We say hi to Hector, Swamp Donkey, and Chalks says he thinks Spencer Rattler has the best chance with tons of NFL upside.
Interesting. Where is he projected to go? Like probably third round?
Yeah, third round. I would be shocked if he wasn't a day 2 pick. I've actually done very deep film studies on Spencer Rattler on my NFL channel if you want to see it for yourself, Power Hour NFL. Athletically, he's okay, right? Like him and Brock Purdy are so similar. Did a video on this as well. Both from Arizona. Spencer was a 5-star recruit. Purdy was a 3-star recruit. Andy, their height, weight are near identical. Rattler is a better arm. Purdy is a better runner. He's just faster. And is just more productive with his legs. I'm in the middle on Spencer Rattler. I mean, that situation would need to be pretty good. I don't think he's much of a play creator, even though he played behind one of the worst offensive lines at South Carolina. And I think playing behind bad offensive linemen in college will help you out in the NFL in a major way. That's one reason why I'm a little concerned about Jaden Daniels, because his offensive line at LSU was really good. J.J. McCarthy, same thing, had really good offensive line, really good protection. Not how it is in the NFL. Most offensive lines are bad. So, yeah, with Spencer Rattler, as Christopher says, if he goes to the Rams, obviously that would be the absolute perfect fit for any quarterback to go to a McVay pocket offense. But I'm kind of in the middle on Spencer.
His cards are. It's also important to note that his Bowman University Chrome cards are from 2022. Before they achieved the team logo licenses for college football, so they are considerably cheaper from that aspect. However, I mean his autos are the rookie autos is kind of where I see most people spending the best money, kind of like that sweet spot. I would want to get like this Bowman auto out of 99 for $90. That's not bad. If I could get that for 50 or under, I'd feel much, much better about it. So you can see people are still buying Spencer Rattler right now. That one actually looks like a mosaic card. And people are still buying Spencer Rattler right now. Some of these Leaf, even though it's got a rookie auto, I feel better buying that Leaf XRC. I mean, Leaf is a reputable company. People know that's going to be authentic auto. So yeah, I wouldn't feel bad about spending $10 on a Leaf rookie auto, especially with the serial number for the Rattler. I think that's not a bad deal. I think that was a better buy right here for $9.99 than this that first one we looked at. This that is a very iconic set right here, you know, because that's the 2000 Tom Brady iconic Bowman set, you know, look. But yeah. So you can definitely see Spencer Rattler is closer to the Joe Milton bottom than he is any of the first round guys. Certainly upside there.
Yeah, I like it. Some of you are talking me into Hendon Hooker because he is with the Lions and he is a top backup. So yeah, I mean, situation matters so much. Let me do this with the chat right now. You just showed Michael Penix. All right. I want the chat to give me your honest thoughts. Who is going to be the best quarterback in this draft? Just write it right now. You can even just put their first initial if you don't want to type out their full name. Let us know if you're watching this after the fact. Comment down below. All right. I am very interested because some of you might think Jaden like me. Some of you might think it's Drake May. Some of you, Annoy, a very sharp guy, says JJ McCarthy.
Okay.
JJ McCarthy.
I'm gonna start a poll right now, and we're just gonna have. I can only do 4, so I'm gonna do Drake May, Caleb Williams, JJ McCarthy, and Jaden Daniels.
There you go.
As the 4 options. I just posted a poll up at the top for you guys to vote.
Well, let us know. All right, Andy, play of the week, and I'll let you go first because I went first for a hobby tip.
Yeah, so I mean, it's gonna be a college prospect play, man. I think I want to go with Brian Thomas Jr.
Okay.
I mean, you see Mel Kiper mocked him for the very end of the first. You're talking about how, I mean, there's no way he goes that late. So we're thinking it's more like middle of the first. I think he's very much a guy that somebody needs. For example, Chargers don't move back. I think there's a potential situation where they draft him, or maybe, you know, I don't know, Chicago. I don't know. There's plenty of landing spots up and down this draft board. But when I compare his prices to Malik Nabers, Rome, Undunze, obviously Marvin Harrison Jr., he's way, way cheaper. And there's like actually some pretty decent prices I can potentially get in on Brian Thomas right now. And he's a guy that I think a lot of teams will perceive as a alpha wide receiver that they can put on the outside. He'll win those man coverage battles, put up a lot of touchdowns. A very good asset a lot of NFL teams will want. And there's some really good landing spots on this draft board. And I think when you just look at the entire first round wide receivers out of all these guys, he's one of the most undervalued.
I'm going to go with Terry McLaurin. Um, this is a guy. Obviously, his rookie season stuff is just strange. I just think whoever they're going to draft at number 2, there's going to be so much hype in Washington with whoever is paired with whoever they take at quarterback, and so much focus is on DJ Moore and Caleb Williams and Keenan Allen. What if the QB2 is better than the QB1? That's why I brought it up, because if Jaden or Drake May are the nuts, guess what? I don't think Jahan Dotson's that good. And he was a clear fade for me before this past year. I'm kind of drafting him some at ADP this year. But I just think if whoever that QB2, if he's good, McLaurin is going to have a Pro Bowl level season. I've not even looked at any Terry McLaurin cards. That was just my play of the week. I normally look at it prior, but I like Terry with whoever they drafted number 2, and I think he's going to have a really, really good season. And wow, rookie ticket autos, $24 out the door. I'll take it.
You hit the nail on the head, man. He is, as Arrow Woods Hobby Shop said here, habitually underrated. Terry McLaurin is habitually underrated, and or maybe it's just like chronically underrated. But I mean, in my eyes, yeah, Terry McLaurin, when you talk about route running, separation, contested catch, I mean, the guy is a wide receiver 1. I mean, he's top 10, top 15 at the very worst receiver in the NFL. And you're right. I think there's going to be a lot of hype for this Washington team. They're going to have a super easy schedule out of the gate. And Terry's going to eat. That defense looks pretty bad in Washington. We know they had one of the worst secondaries last year. And I think they're going to have a pretty bad defense again this year. And there's going to be a lot of offensive fireworks. So I'm wheels up. I wrote up Terry McLaurin a few weeks ago, did a deep dive on him for our premium members, Carter. So yeah, you know it, baby. I'm trying to give tomorrow's news today. Every Friday, I publish that article for the premium members over on footballcardquest.com, our little premium membership. And check it out, guys. Yeah, I wrote up Terry McLaurin a couple weeks ago, did deep dive on him, and highlighted about 10 different listings and the price points I would target them at, how you could get in. But yeah, this is a perfect example right here. $25 rookie ticket autos. Love it. From 2019. Love it. Love it. Love it.
So we got a lot of Bo Nixes in the chat, Andy. Man, if Bo Nix goes to the Broncos, there's going to be so much freaking hype around his name because he's with Sean Payton. And Bo Nix kind of looks like a Drew Brees. He's not unfreaking believably big, and he does have a lower ADOT, right? Drew Brees was a precision, good deep ball thrower, but he was more known for the intermediate stuff. So we've gotten a lot of Bo Nix love in the chat. I almost won the Heisen last year.
Yeah, I think some people are overpaying though for Bo Nix.
Ooh.
I mean, look at this. Look at this. Elements of the game. Buy it now here from Bowman's Best. This is not even what's considered his rookie card. This is from 2023. Bo Nix is a 2022 Bowman first. And the 2023 cards, that makes it a second-year card. Now, it says gold out of 50, so that's the only thing that's really, I guess, holding this card up here. But for $40, I feel like that's a little rich. I mean, that's a little rich, man. Look at this one, $100. So you could see the buy it nows going off for Bo Nix. There's obviously a lot of people out there that have some pretty significant expectations and hype for him. Maybe think he's gonna go day one. Maybe there's some speculation there. Mel Kiper's got him 201, but that's right there. Could go day one. So there's obviously people out there buying him, anticipating he is going to go day one to a decent landing spot where he gets a start somewhere. Carter, I'm not sure he gets a start, but he could definitely, like you said, he can definitely go day one and would definitely get invited to the NFLPA premiere.
He'll definitely be there. I'll tell you this, Andy. I think Jaden Daniels is the guy that's going to have the best rookie season, especially if you're looking at it in terms of floor. Andy, Jaden Daniels has 9 years of starting quarterback experience. He started all 4 years in high school. He started all 5 years in college. So, you look like a guy at JJ McCarthy. He's so young, right? So I don't think JJ McCarthy is going to have instant success in the NFL. Not funny does make an interesting point, though. He feels the opposite. He says JJ is the most pro ready. McCarthy was the best thrower on 3rd and 6 or longer situations. So when he was behind the sticks, he was the best quarterback in this draft class. But I just think it's going to be a transition for a guy who threw 25 attempts or something like that per game. Drake May is not a finished product. He's also a little bit younger. So right now my QB rankings are Daniels 1, Caleb 2, and I have flip-flopped 3 and 4 between McCarthy and May a few times. So we'll see.
42% of the audience right now has voted for JJ McCarthy. 26,
really?
Yeah, 26% Drake May, 16% Caleb Williams, 16% Jaden Daniels. That JJ McCarthy hype is real right now, Carter.
How do you feel?
Yeah, I like the rushing upside that Jaden Daniels gives you with that efficiency he had last year. I mean, and you're right, he had the extra year in college, so it does seem like Jaden Daniels could step right in with the right offensive game plan, some decent play calling, and be pretty productive right out of the gate. So I think Caleb Williams has got obviously the most expected, and they're probably going to put a ton on his shoulders. And I don't think the play calling is going to be too great in Chicago. So I think just Chicago's almost got like a quarterback curse. I think he's going to struggle a little bit. So yeah, I would go with Jaden, but JJ McCarthy to Minnesota would be really, really nice for him, just because the play calling there is so good, and you have Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson. Now you have Aaron Jones at running back. I mean, I think that would be just an insane landing spot for JJ McCarthy, which he could see him do quite well. And then Drake May to New England. I don't really know what to expect from this new New England coaching staff. So I think it's going to be Jaden or JJ McCarthy.
Oh, so we don't have a whole lot of Drake May truthers on here. I guess not. But yeah, y'all go check out before we skedaddle here. Andy, I was able to find someone who super chatted, Thomas. He was able to send me the link. Let me see if I can present on my end.
Okay.
And he super chatted to show his card off here. And there it is. If y'all are interested, look at that. He's at 385. Look at you, man. I love this downtown design. I just love downtowns, period. It looks pretty good, man.
Optic downtown too. So it's got that laser chrome finish. It's a nice card.
There you go.
So, yeah, reasonably priced right now. Looks like he's got it in auction. Okay.
I love it, man. Well, there you go. We appreciate each and every one of you, and we'll still be doing a bunch of shows leading up into draft. Also, we've had to move it around. Normally we do Tuesdays. We got to be flexible with Andy's work schedule, man. He's been killing it with the workout stuff, but also like real life family stuff. So, we appreciate your guys' patience with that. So, Andy, is there any other comment or anything else you wanted to get to before?
Moral of the story, turn those notifications on, hop in our Discord, because I always post additional updates in there as well. announcements. Plus, it's grown quite a bit. There's a lot of activity going on in there. A lot of fun conversations to be had, especially as we get into the draft here. So then we can get the real off season started, and there will be no more speculation on landing spots, and we can start to really formulate our projections for the 2024 season and get ready for training camps. So I'm excited, man. Really excited. Appreciate everybody tuning out today.
All right. NoOffSeason.com. We appreciate Paul Hickey and the crew. And next week we'll see ya.
Peace. Peace out, guys. Boom.